authorities, the village of Sokt was one of the places the hardest hit. Many families there have been unable to recover the bodies of soldiers who died. France 24's correspondents on the ground report.
A ghost town, emptied of its inhabitants and surrounded by artillery fire. Here in Sotk, people are rushing to grab whatever they have left. This building has been gutted by a rocket, and it hasn't even exploded yet. Most of the evacuees have found refuge in the town of Martuni, 50 kilometers away, one of the safe spaces being this evangelist church.
This is the kids' room.
Among the refugees are many children who've just spent a night hiding from heavy shelling.
I was closing my door to leave the village, and then about 10 meters away, a bomb exploded. It moved the car, but the children were inside it. When they fired, it was an inferno, and it's going to have long-term effects on the mental health of the children.
The children were stuck underground for 4 hours, and one of them is disabled.
He can't hear, he can't speak. He doesn't sleep at night. He survives thanks to medication. His family has gone back to the village to feed the cows.
He's the cousin of these 2 little girls, who don't yet know that their father, a soldier, has disappeared in Jarmuk, leaving this already anxious family plunged into uncertainty.
Soldiers told me he was wounded. Sorry, that he was dead. But he's not yet listed on the record of dead soldiers, so now we don't know what to do or who to contact.
The soldier's father has called on the international community for help.
Do you remember during the 2020 conflict? Only the UN was able to put a stop to all of this. They can stop this, can't they? If they don't, who will?
Even the military can't give them clear answers, and their weight is unbearable.
I only ask one thing. If you could provide us with any information about my son, any information, would make us feel better.
8 months pregnant, his wife struggles to find the words.
I feel awful. I haven't told my children yet.
We are a close family. We love each other. We are just waiting for our son.
Over 100 Armenian soldiers have died since the beginning of the Azerbaijani offensive.
Britain's new monarch is in Cardiff, Wales today. The trip is the latest stop in Charles III's 4-nation tour. Later on this evening, he, along with his siblings, will be holding a vigil in Westminster Hall. Now, a temporary pause has gone into effect for mourners who wish to join the queue to walk past the Queen's coffin as it lies in state. The move comes as wait time started to exceed 14 hours. Sinead McCausland reports.
Some say it's what the British are best at. After hundreds of thousands of royal mourners queued almost 8 kilometres to pay respects to the Queen's coffin, British authorities announced on Friday morning the queue has been paused.
Southwark Park has reached capacity. Entry will be paused for at least 6 hours. We are sorry for any inconvenience.
Members of the public have been warned not to attempt to join the queue until it reopens. Those currently in line to see the Queen lying in state staying up throughout the night.
We just felt we needed to be here just to see and experience it. It's a bit tiring on the feet, though.
It would just be nice for the respect, just be able to show you respect and, you know, to wish her goodbye.
Hundreds of volunteers have been enlisted to make sure the queue runs in an orderly British fashion.
We're just really here for the pastoral care, which basically means just making sure everyone's kind of in the queue where they're supposed to be, making sure everyone's okay. So we're just really here on the basis of just monitoring the movement, the flow, and dealing with any situations that may take place.
The government have published a map showing the route of the line, which stretches along the Thames, as well as a live queue tracker. As preparations for the funeral continue, King Charles will resume his public duties on Friday, visiting Wales with his wife Camilla, the Queen Consort, to mark the end of their tour of the United Kingdom, before taking part in a vigil for his late mother at Westminster Hall on Friday evening, alongside his 3 siblings.
At least 10 people have died after violent storms lashed central Italy. Several towns in the port city of Ancona were left without power, and schools were shut this Friday. The recent flooding follows a record-breaking summer season. It also comes as Italy gears up for elections where the issue of climate change has taken a backseat. Selena Sykes reports.
Another European country caught off guard by extreme weather. Authorities in central Italy are scrambling to evacuate residents after torrential rain and deadly flash floods hit the region of Marche late on Thursday. Helicopter images show the extent of the damage as locals start clean-up operations. Around 400 millimetres of rain fell in just a few hours, in a downpour far heavier than had been forecast. In total, the equivalent of 6 months of rain. The mayor of one of the towns badly hit described it as apocalyptic. Homes were left without electricity or phone connections in some areas, and several schools have been closed. More than 150 rescue operations have been carried out, with people taking refuge on rooftops and in trees airlifted to safety or evacuated in rafts. The floods come with just over a week to go until the country heads to the polls for a general election. Some parties have suspended campaigning in the region.
Air traffic controllers here in France have walked off the job this Friday. It's resulted in numerous cancellations or delays. Travelers are being advised to postpone their trip if possible. Air traffic controllers say they want higher pay amid soaring inflation. They also want more staff to be hired in the coming years. Yinka Oyatare reports.
Over 1,000 flights grounded across France, triggering a day of disruption and frustration for travelers Friday. To cushion the blow of the strike, France's aviation authority has asked airlines to cancel half of their flights going in and out of the country. Air France has slashed its short and medium-haul flights by over half, while 90% of long-haul connections will go ahead. Ryanair has had to disrupt the travel plans of 80,000 of its passengers. The airline is particularly affected by overflying, and the partial shutdown of France's airspace has forced the company to cancel 420 of its flights. It's calling on authorities to take tougher action.
It is time that the EU step in and protect overflights so that European passengers are not repeatedly held to ransom by a tiny French ATC union.
Among the grievances of strikers is pay. They say soaring inflation is eroding their spending power. The future recruitment of air traffic controllers is also causing concern. The walkout tops off a summer of travel chaos across Europe. The holiday season has been gripped by long snaking security queues, shortages of staff, and cancellations as international travel is ramped up again after years of COVID disruption. The CEO of Schiphol Airport, Dick Benschop, stepped down on Wednesday over the disarray. The chaos continues, with thousands of passengers missing their flights this week.
Time now for culture on the program, and for that I'm joined by Olivia Salazar-Winspear. Great to see you as always. Now, a week ago, you and I spoke, and you talked about the place Queen Elizabeth II had in the UK's arts and culture scene. Now, France 24 has been speaking to someone who saw that up close.
Yes, her image, in fact. Painter Nikki Phillips is a portrait artist who was commissioned to make a very special image of the Queen in 2012. That was her likeness on a first-class stamp. She then went on to paint the Queen 3 times, going to the palace for sittings. And France 24's Eve Jackson got a chance to sit down with Nikki in London and hear a bit more about capturing her likeness and the challenge of that. Here's a bit more from her.
Had 3 one-hour sittings, and as you can imagine, with the monarch, goes like that. So you just have to glean as much as you can when you're with her. I was really there to capture the colours, eye colours, skin colour, hair colour, because that's where I feel that the human eye has a bit of an edge on the camera, and I hope I'm not offending photographers across the world by saying that. And also I had her sitting next to me so I could get the dynamic, the feeling of that she was actually sitting there, which I think you can only capture when you have somebody literally next to you.
So you can catch the full show with Nikki Phillips here on France 24 at 5:15 Paris time, and that's on our website too.
Perfect. And now you're moving back to Paris now, where this weekend many people will be able to get a glimpse inside some very special buildings. So what can they see?
Yes, it's the European Heritage Days, where people are invited to go into buildings that are normally off limits. It's very, very well attended, this, all over France. There are often long queues for some more exclusive properties. I wanted to flag up two properties here in Paris, two sites. One, the UNESCO headquarters. Now, they're celebrating their 50th anniversary, the 50th anniversary of the World Heritage Programme this year. There's a modernist building in Paris, which is their home, and you'll be able to go inside. There are exhibitions, a documentary in partnership with National Geographic to mark that as well. Another major site here in the French capital is the Bibliothèque Richelieu. This is the former Royal Library, which dates back to the 17th century. It's undergone a 12-year renovation programme, which has been extremely integral, as you can imagine, given the historical value of that site. There have dance performances, music going on in the courtyard this weekend for people visiting, and you can check out everything on offer on the European Heritage Days website. So there's plenty to do on Saturday and Sunday.
The library looks stunning. Now another event taking place here in the French capital looks a bit more lively with a bit of contemporary art in the mix too. Explain.
Yes, the Palais de Tokyo is also celebrating 20 years as Paris's premier contemporary arts venue, and it's really made a name for itself on the European scene, I'd say, as well. As well as contemporary art, they're staging a whole weekend of events called Bodies in Alliance, curated by Italian artist Marinella Senatore. You can see some of their rehearsals there. Her practice is dedicated to the power of the group, collective action, the energy sparked by collaboration. So they'll be doing dance workshops, music, performances, DJ sets. And it's not just professionals, it's not just professional artists. They've invited sports associations, local groups, and they're really encouraging the public to take part in what they want to be a living celebration.
I love the space. It is pretty beautiful. Next to a comedy festival, bringing in a very international lineup to the French capital. Who can we see?
Yes, the Comedy Stop Festival kicked off last night with Australian comic Celeste Barber. Now, you might know her from her Instagram parodies, where she mimics celebrity poses with some relatable results, let's say. We've also got local talent Paul Taylor with his very British take on French life. Canadian comic Catherine Ryan, she'll be bringing her hilarious delivery to the stage here in France after her best-selling memoir, The Audacity, was published last year. And another transatlantic star on the bill is Iranian-American Maz Jobrani. Now, he's someone with a bicultural experience, so a really sharp observer of universal truths, local quirks and differences culturally. He deals with some really interesting socio-political issues as well. He's one of the founding members of the Axis of Evil comedy troupe with other Middle Eastern comics that was founded after 9/11. Now, we got a chance to speak to Maz in a bit more detail about the situations that he minds for his stand-up comedy, and you can get a bit of a taste of his style as well. Take a look.
You can't get a cold during the coronavirus because everyone thinks you've got the coronavirus, right? Getting a cold during the coronavirus is what it felt like being Muslim after September 11th. Everyone thought you're guilty. It's what it felt like being white after January 6th. That was your day, mother. I was watching January 6th. I go, oh shit, they have terrorists too! I'm sorry, patriots. That's what white people call their terrorists, patriots.
One type of material that's universal is any family material. So whether you talk about being a father, a husband, a son, all of that stuff, I think you play it anywhere in the world. I've had a chance to perform in Australia, in the Middle East, and all over the world. The family stuff crosses over. The stuff that's a little harder to cross over is anything that pertains to, let's say, American politics, or something that's going on in the U.S. right now that maybe Europe has its own problems. They don't want to hear about my American problems.
So as you can see, Maz Jobrani, a wide range of issues in his stand-up, very highly recommended. He's performing at the Apollo Theatre in central Paris on Sunday evening. There'll also be other gigs at the Alhambra over the weekend.
Thank you very much for that, Olivia. Olivia Salazar-Winspear there with Culture. Time next for sports.
It's the end of an era in tennis as Roger Federer calls time on his illustrious career at next week's Laver Cup. The Swiss legend, who won his first Wimbledon title back in 2003, took to social media to explain that his fitness was increasingly becoming an obstacle.
I am 41 years old. I've played more than 1,500 matches over 24 years. Tennis has treated me more generously than I ever would have dreamt. and now must recognize when it is time to end my competitive career.
Tributes have poured in from across the world of tennis and Federer's former opponents, including Rafa Nadal, but also former Roland Garros finalist Alex Corretja.
We knew that that was going to happen, but definitely when I saw that news, I was like, no way, I can't believe that he's saying that he's not going to play any more professional tennis. I feel like he's someone unique and someone that, of course, we will miss, and especially the way he was playing, the way he was drawing the ball on the court, the way he was moving, and the way he was just walking on the court or next to you. I think this is something that definitely we will miss.
Federer won the last of his 20 majors at the 2018 Australian Open, having also won Down Under the previous year. Federer leaves tennis having made his own unmistakable mark on the game, a legacy which lives on in the host of players that he's influenced. Monaco defender Benoit Badiachil is among a raft of new faces in the France squad for the next international break, as Didier Deschamps has to make do with an injury crisis. The team also features returns for Olivier Giroud and Ousmane Dembele. Paul Pogba is out for knee injury, with Deschamps admitting that he's unsure of whether the Juventus man will recover in time for the World Cup. I've never taken a player to a finals tournament if he was not fully recovered. Paul has enough respect for himself too. He's not a holiday rep.